Hunter.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Caitlin. I'm Nessa.
This is the Family Showdown!
Well, that was interesting.
Kia mates.
Apparently, we're out of practice.
Woo! Oh, it took us 2 weeks for us to forget everything. 3 weeks of I don't know. It's crazy.
Apparently, we're out of practice.
Try this again. Kia mates. Oh my gosh. What do you mean no one?
No one knows what
There's
you're saying.
a couple of islands that disagree, sir. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, welcome back. We couldn't handle it. We had to go live again. We miss you people. We're crazy. I know. You're crazy too because you're here chatting with us. How's it going? What's that face? Hunter learned a new word and it's his favorite word and he uses it for everything, whether it's appropriate or not, and that is dodgy. Did you notice that?
Our camera angle is a bit dodgy.
Yes. Okay, everything is dodgy now. He loves this word because everyone says, something's kind of iffy, not quite right. It's a bit dodgy.
All right.
Now he's in love with this word. It's fantastic.
So, if you haven't figured out, we went on a journey to a far-off land. So, we kind of kept it on the down low, but if you follow us on Twitter, you should follow us on Twitter.
Why aren't you following us on Twitter?
You would know that we went to New Zealand.
Maybe.
And
I might have said something
Australia.
I was like, what are you doing? Here's my t-shirt.
The last 2 weeks, and that's why we did pre-recorded stuff for those 2 weeks. But we're back!
We are, and you guys are already using the new vocabulary well, because Tommy says Hunter is a bit dodgy.
I am a bit
well
dodgy.
Played. Yes.
So, we've been planning this trip for a while. We've been saving for the trip for a while, and it was amazing.
He dragged me back kicking and screaming. I'm not lying.
I may or may not have been looking up jobs in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Today.
He tried to escape into Hobbiton, too. Bus driver had him get off to open the sheep gate. Yes, we had to open a sheep gate to get into Hobbiton. It was the best thing ever. And Hunter's like, bye! He tried to disappear. It was great.
You're just jumping right in.
I am. It was amazing. Hunter tried to escape. What?
So, if you haven't figured it out, this show is not going to be very board game related. But I do have a little section. I have an agenda. This is my agenda.
He's got an agenda.
There is a section that involves board games. But for the most part...
It's kind of... This is your tourism video
this
for
is
New Zealand and specific parts of Australia.
This is a promo video for traveling to New Zealand.
So if you have any questions about New Zealand, we went through... Hold on. I have a handy little map because I always get it backwards. Okay, we went to the North Island and we started in Auckland.
I got all this.
Oh, my bad. I'm jumping ahead.
But you're not following the agenda. We're up here in the intro. You're down here in the talky bits.
Someone hasn't shown me his agenda. I'm just saying.
So,
dodgy.
What we're going to do is... Feel free to ask us questions. We want this to be interactive.
Totally.
Ask us about what we liked, didn't like, what we hated, what was good, what was bad, all that good stuff.
Anything?
But, to start us off, I created about a 7-minute video
of greatness
of our trip. So you watch it after the fact. You can jump 7 minutes ahead if you don't want to watch us act crazy in New Zealand and Australia. But
we have a promotional video.
We are going to... Let me move the chat where we can see it. Hold on.
Yeah, because we want to chat with you.
Hold on. Let me move the chat. This is going to take a bit. Sorry.
Oh, dear.
Move the chat over here where I can see it.
IT guy needs to get it so we can have a mouse.
And then I'm going to get the video.
Woohoo!
Where is it? Where is it? It's right here. So let me pull it up.
So exciting.
It's going to start.
So exciting.
You may get a little bit of a sneak peek. Oh, it shouldn't make much noise. All right. There's that.
Ooh, is this showing up now?
All right.
Can they see it? Can they see it?
Not yet. All right, here you go, folks.
Oh, no, Peter. This is to sell it to you. So you have to go now.
Here we go. So we'll be back in about 7 minutes or so. Should we talk over it or not?
I don't know, because you set music and
yeah,
stuff.
we won't talk over it. So we'll see you in about 7 minutes or so. Ish.
Or so. So you could donate to the Lions Club and they give you duck food and it's like corn and seeds and Caitlin's surrounded, she's never escaping. They love you.
Look at her go! Woo, Nessa!
All right, folks.
Oh!
It was a pretty average trip.
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
Let me get everything situated back the way we normally do it.
So, someone commented about it being windy at Edoras, and apparently that was a very average day. It constantly blows there, and it was pushing Nessa around. It was that rough, and he even had his little
wind meter,
anemometer or whatever they call it, to check wind speed. He said it was very average.
25-mile-an-hour winds, constantly.
Constant. They used to have to put up windshields to film for Lord of the Rings. We learned a whole bunch of really cool things about how they had to overcome a lot of wind obstacles while they were filming there.
Yeah, and I rewatched the parts of the movie, and if you look at the Edoras scene, now we're gonna talk in Lord of the Rings jargon, so if you we're gonna be talking a foreign language for a little while if you don't know Lord of the Rings, but I went back and watched the Edoras scenes. Every single scene, even with the wind blocks, you still see their hair whipping around. And
they had one day of filming there where there wasn't wind the entire time they were there.
The first shoot when there's 3 riders.
Yeah, that was the only
four
day.
Riders, I
that
guess.
was the
3
only
horses
day they didn't have
riding up.
It's really cool.
That's the only time there wasn't wind. And he said he's had 40, 45 mile an hour winds, not gusts, just winds.
Yeah.
And I think the highest recorded during filming was 108 kilometers an hour, which would be 65 or 70 miles an hour.
Borderlining low grade.
What's the number? 108 times 6.
It's ridiculous.
65 miles an hour winds.
Yeah.
Which is
insane.
Almost low grade tornado speed.
Well, sustained as hurricane.
I mean,
you're
it's
almost there.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So they had a lot of stuff to overcome. If you get a chance to go there and you like Lord of the Rings at all, it's worth the splurge to go take at least one of those tours because you learn so many cool things about the movie and what they did.
The guides are very knowledgeable. They've done a lot of research. They know their stuff.
The tour guides are usually huge fans themselves. It was a blast chatting with people that it's their dream job, because they're getting to do that. Some of them, like one of our bus drivers in college, studied history and cinema. And he was like the perfect person to lead that tour too, because he talked about the history of New Zealand and he talked about Lord of the Rings and stuff. So it was really interesting to meet a lot of the people that were running a lot of the tours and stuff. It's pretty amazing. So let's see, what was I gonna ask?
More Australia. Yeah, we only did
Cairns basically.
We did one travel day basically,
Yeah.
and one real day in Australia.
Yeah.
New Zealand was the main trip. I wanted this.
We had to hit the Barrier Reef because
the girls are crazy into nature
Barrier
stuff.
Reef, yeah.
So I guess we can quickly just kind of hit all the places that were in that video and kind of talk quickly about it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but first stop was Hobbiton. My favorite book of all time is The Hobbit. I read that book probably at least 2 or 3 times a year when I was a kid. I probably read that book. That may be my most read book. I'm pretty sure it's my most read
I bet
book.
so. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
And it was just kind of surreal to be in the place where your book, basically your childhood coming to life. Anyway, so not to get crazy and nostalgic, but it was amazing. Our guide was awesome. He knew all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. He talked about all the weird things like the big tree above Bilbo's house. Whole Hobbit hole is completely made of metal with plastic leaves. And he told us an interesting story that all the leaves, they got it all set up. They got it all worked out. It has like 200,000 individual leaves on this tree. And Peter Jackson looked at it and said, that looks great, but I don't like the color of the leaves. So they had to go up and hand paint every single leaf on that tree a different color.
Yeah. So many of those things they did. It's interesting. He involved a lot of the community with a lot of stuff too. Like the ring wraiths were pony club riders.
That's not Hobbiton.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I jumping ahead?
You're just like a little kid that doing a book report, and you're like jumping through like around in the book.
But it's cool because he does all these different things. Hobbiton. To make it look lived in, they built the set for Hobbiton a year in advance and grew crops there so that it looked
and they
lived
had people
in.
walking around and doing
they went up and
going
put
through their
laundry
daily
up
activities
every day
just
so
so that there would be
a path to the
paths
laundry
between the different areas of the
line,
town.
and
It is insane what he did to make this movie.
It's pretty neat.
So Hobbiton was pretty amazing.
Nerf.
What is she talking about?
Hello, Nathaniel.
She can't live in the moment. She jumps around. You gotta be organized here. So the one picture that we didn't have was the Watamo cave, glowworm caves.
Oh yeah,
because they didn't allow pictures, and the one place they allowed pictures, I couldn't get anything to come out that even looks cool. But anyway, there's this underground cave that is full of these little worms that glow. The glow in the dark.
Well, the funny thing is, only part of them glows too.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and they leave these little, like, for lack of a better description on how they described it, up to 30 of these little fishing lines dangling down. Then they have little like pearl drops on them, but they're like spider webs.
Yeah.
And they catch flies and stuff in them, and once something gets caught, they kind of pull in the line and eat the bug.
Yep.
It's amazing. And you don't even see the lines that are hanging down until they turn on, like, lights on it. All you see is this pitch black cave and these beautiful little bluish lights. It was the coolest thing. And you go in and it's pitch dark and no one's allowed to talk. So you're sitting in a boat. Tourists not talking. It's amazing. It actually can happen. Although the chick did yell at a couple people. It was really funny. But, yeah, she's just pulling. There's like a rope chain throughout the cave and she just pulls the boat along this rope real quietly, and there's, I think they said, 40,000 inside that cave or some craziness.
I'm
40,000 of these little
and
things.
Rebecca and I were waiting for our boat, and we were like, we didn't see a single bug. I'm like, what are these things eating? There needs to be hundreds of thousands of these bugs.
Attacked by sandflies or something.
Just bugs swarming. I don't know how they survive. They must eat like one bug a year. I don't know how they survive.
They must swarm in the evenings and stuff.
But the reason we had to be quiet is funny because one of the tour guides said that if you make a loud, sudden noise, they all freak and they turn their lights off.
Yeah.
And it takes them like
45
45 minutes to turn their lights back on again. So one loud noise and the tour's over. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
it's funny.
You'd have hundreds of people wanting to kill you.
All right, now we're to Edoras.
What?
This was
What?
it's reconnected. We're back.
What?
I don't even know what they're gonna see when that happens.
Worked on keeping the land pure and pristine. So when they built the set for the Rohirrim and the Rohan capital and everything, they just built the frame, and the only thing that actually has any permanent marks on those rocks is where they anchored the building down. And they didn't build the inside. They did the inside of the Great Hall sets and stuff, and then they took everything, even the roads that they used to connect to it, and to haul all this stuff in. They did the almost like epitome of the camping leave no trace thing.
Right.
It's amazing. You can't tell that they had. I mean, they had to show us pictures of where
Stuff
they had
was.
the camp and all the buses parked and all of the stuff, and it's kind of hard. You had to kind of like, wow, this whole area was covered with that.
Yeah.
He went to such meticulous details as moving plants and trees for filming and then putting the original ones back, and
it was pretty impressive.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I was really shocked, one, how isolated it truly is. It is truly out in the middle of nowhere. It is in a valley among all these mountains. Like, it's just, if you saw in the pictures that we kind of flew by, it's just this little rocky hill in the middle of a valley, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of these mountains. And
we obviously cut it short, but we have pictures going up to it. We're driving through land where we saw animals and almost no people the entire drive. Now, granted, it is also winter.
Right.
So the tourist season was very low right now, which was also in our favor. But
it was great.
yeah, but
yeah.
Yikes! There's nothing out there. A lot of the ranchers, they call them stations. There are the ranches. The big ones actually use helicopters instead of just typical cowboys and horses. They use motorcycles and helicopters.
They herd with helicopters
because their land is so immense and so isolated. It just blows the mind the scale of the ranching and stuff they do out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you go anywhere touristy like in America, for the most part, I mean, there's some exceptions.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the tourist spot and you look one way and you'll see a McDonald's, and look the other way and you'll see like
Starbucks.
and
a
then
tourist
another
shop.
way you'll see like a residential area, and then like there's this touristy area.
Well, plus we're gonna have safety bars all the way up to where you hike up to, and all sorts of ridiculous things. I mean, we
really felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. In the middle, I mean, it was just. It's just out there that found it interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. They're very much, New Zealand does an amazing job of taking care of their land out there, and it's pretty cool. So
we went out to Mount Cook. That was really cool. There's not much to say about it. It's a beautiful mountain.
Gorgeous.
They have a lodge and a bunch of cabins and stuff up there. It's more of a touristy than a lot of the places we went. It was really cool, but we just kind of went up there, ate lunch, and came back.
Mm-hmm.
The drive was beautiful, amazing, but this one felt like a tourist stop to me, more so than the other ones. I mean, Hobbiton obviously is a big tourist spot, but
you were transported to another realm there. No, but that's something too. Is what was I going to say? Like I'll come back to me. But yeah, there was something about that I was going to tell you. I'll think of it.
So I quickly wrote down all the places in the Lord of the Rings that we saw. I'm just going to list these.
Okay. So
we saw the Argonath, the dudes doing this on the river, on the rivers flew out of my head.
Anduin? No.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to turn in my card.
Yeah, you have to turn in your card. Yeah, it'll give the chat something to do. Name that river!
Anyway, so the Argonath, we went there. Actually, the way they filmed it, it's interesting. Peter Jackson, we found out this. Almost every single place we went, you're only going to see a piece of what you see in the movies. He takes he takes like the background of one place, then the foreground of another place, and then the middle ground of a third place, just to he pieces those together to create the place he wants. So almost nowhere does he just take the actual location, and that's what you see in the movie. So for the Argonath, the place we were standing on basically a road. Basically, he took the river that we were looking down to, took that, and then took another background to make the scene where they're going through the Argonath. one of the places we were standing, where we were putting our hands up, was one of the shelves, one of the ledges next to the Argonaut. So it's,
where they actually
so he took pieces of 2 or 3 different things, and obviously the Argonaut, they call them bigatures. It's a big miniature that Weta Studios made.
Yeah. That
he added those in. So he pieced together miniatures with the foreground of the river, with the background of the ledges we were on. It was just it's interesting how he pieces things together. So the Misty Mountains, basically every mountain in New Zealand was part of the Misty Mountains from different angles and different pieces. He just pieced together. He liked this mountain and these mountains and some of those mountains.
But he used the Remarkable Mountains a lot.
Yeah.
There's a mountain range called Remarkables, which I just love that.
And then we went to Athelion, the camp where potatoes, the campfire scene, and where he saw the oliphants. So you saw pictures of us looking at the field, and that's the actual field where they filmed it. It's one of the few places that Peter Jackson used two different scenes in the same location. The campfire place was like literally 20 feet away from. It's literally like almost like they had it in the movie. The camp was right next to where they saw the things. That was interesting. Mm-hmm. Then when we went to Isengard, with the part of Isengard that we were at was the background of Isengard. The foreground was a bigature of the Orthanc and the desolation of the orcs, building the mines and stuff. So we saw the background of Isengard, and everything else was kind of CG.
Well, in the plane where it was at, too.
Part of it, but then he CG'd in the mines and stuff.
The mines and all that, of course, but yeah.
And then we went to in Arrowtown. There's a little mining camp that we went to that had nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, but right off of that mining camp was Gladden Fields, the where they filmed the Isildur's death, basically, where he's riding with his horse and the orcs jump out and ambush him, and he jumps in the river and they shoot him and kill him.
Hence all of us were going,
so that's
pictures.
We went to that spot. That was pretty cool. Again, that's another place where he kind of filmed 2 things, because the trail they were riding up on the horses is right next to the place where he fell into the river, where the river scene was. Those right next to each other. So that's one of the places he did 2 different scenes in the same spot. Then there's several pictures of a mountain. There's like in Queenstown, the town itself. I think it's maybe a suburb. And then it's all around this big hill mountain, grass-covered mountain. And there's several scenes where we got pictures of that thing, and that's where the warg attack happened.
Yeah.
But that's someone's farmland, private land.
Yeah, they don't let people out there.
And he does not let anyone on there. After the movie was filmed, he's like, I am tired of tourists. No one is allowed on my land, so you cannot actually go up there, but we took pictures of it. And you can actually piece together, looking at the picture, where the scene happened. And you can actually tell from the picture.
Yeah, it's
where
really
the scene
cool.
happened.
It's pretty cool.
So at some point I want to put together our pictures in combination with the movie. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, we're getting skips.
No, that was
earlier? Okay. And then what else did we see? The Ford of Brunnen.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was
cool
too.
We went to, again, this is off of Arrowtown Mining Camp. You go through all this off-roady type stuff, and you eventually end up with where the Ford of Brunnen was, which, of course, if you're familiar with the film, that's where the ring race chased down Arwen with Frodo, and she says, you can't have him, get out of my face, and the thing happens.
The thing happens.
And the waves
Spoilers!
That's all Actually, that's not CG. We found out that the waves are actually made by a jet boat they put around the corner, and they fired water out of the jet boat to make the big, massive wave that attacks
that was hilarious.
The ring race.
Yeah, it's funny the stuff that they did, and they used a lot of forced perspective to make things look bigger because they used a weird angle. It was kind of funny to hear how they did a lot of different things.
And then we get to do a jet boat ride, but that was also had a piece of Lord of the Rings tour to it. That is actually I didn't write it down, the Arwen River. What's the name of the river?
Arwen?
Yes, that river. The river that take the canoes, the little boats, the wooden boats down the river past the Argonauts and eventually make camp. There's several scenes of them going down the river. That's actually that river that we did the jet boat on was that river. Mm-hmm. And then what else did we do? That's it for Lord of the Rings. And then we did we did the Milford Sound cruise, which didn't have anything to do with. That was the touristy piece of the
It had
cruise.
everything to do with it.
It was beautiful. It was crazy beautiful.
Okay, so New Zealand. Well, obviously, that was what I was going to talk about. It's funny how much of the Lord of the Rings tours still drive some of the tourist economy. It
What
was
did he say? What did he
14%.
say?
or something
17.
like
I
that.
think 17. It's 14 or
17? Yeah, it was in the teens. How much a percentage of their actual tourism still, 20 years later, is
Based on
affected by Lord of the Rings stuff. So it's really interesting. So it's one of those things where if you like that and or you love nature, oh my gosh, this is an outdoorsman dream out there. So if you like the outdoors, you're probably still watching right now for that reason. Like there's so much to do there.
Really, the only thing I think we missed, I mean, there's literally 100 plus sites in New Zealand that they use for filming. But we hit a lot of the major ones, the touristy ones. The one thing we didn't do that was kind of out of the way and we just couldn't fit it in and it wasn't part of this tour that we did was going to Wellington to the Weta Studios.
Yeah, that would have been really cool, but whatever.
That did not happen.
Yep.
So there you go. That is New Zealand. And then, of course, we did the Great Barrier Reef, and that was beautiful and amazing. And mainly we just kind of played around on the beach and walked around and looked at stuff. And
we did the little glass bottom boat tour so you could see some of the coral and stuff because Nessa's not quite up for snorkeling.
But at that point, we were kind of dead.
Well, we were. And then the odd thing is, okay, it's winter. Usually the North Island is raining, and then the South Island is snowing. And then Australia is usually rainy. Well, we had perfect weather the entire time, but it caught up with us in Australia. Yeah. So it started just pouring buckets. Like the evening we got into Sydney, Hunter's like, let's go to the game store. And he was like, it was just sheets of rain. We're like, nope. We were already tired. We're like,
and then and then Karen's, right when we got back, as we were riding back the boat back to Karen's we went to Green Island. Green Island. We went to Green Island.
You don't remember? Is it?
And it just started pouring, so we walked in the rain all the way back to our hotel.
Yeah, we were like,
at that point, we were like, we're done.
We're soaking wet already. We don't want to get sick. So yeah, you know what? If Brisbane wasn't like several hundred miles off course,
no, it's like 1,000 miles to Brisbane.
It was funny. We're like, let's just bounce by and see if Nerf's around. Oh no, we looked at the map. We just laughed. We're like, yeah, she's not close.
It's like, maybe we just rent a car and nope.
Plus, I saw you were Nerf. I was cracking up because right before we left,
you said you were in the U.S.
I saw something about you traveling to the U.S. and I was like, well, that figures. We're like, hey, let's switch places. It was funny.
All right, so
someday
we're gonna wrap this all up in a little board game bow. Here's your board game part. So if you made it this far and you're curious about board game stuff, you've made it. So. We went to 3 board game stores. We wanted to go to more, but rain killed one of them. And late night, apparently a lot of board game stores are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. A lot of times they're closed on Mondays in the U.S., but Mondays and Tuesdays there. So that killed some of the board game trips, but we did get to go to 3 board game stores. So in Auckland, we went to the Vagabond Card and Collectible Store. And that one was a pretty cool store. It had let me just say, everything we saw, all board game stores we saw were just amazing. They were
they had a lot of stock.
They were fairly small comparative to the ones we're used to, but we're used to.
But we're in DFW,
where
they have some of the craziest
stores there are.
Yeah, that's hard.
It was they had Vagabond Card and Collectibles was mainly Magic. A lot of board game stores are Magic driven. It's card game driven, but they did have a selection of board games. They had some play games that you could play.
They had a playing library, which I thought was cool.
And they just had it was kind of a cozy little place. It's definitely, there was people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and mainly Magic. There's mostly card games.
Mostly card games there.
And, but it was a nice store. The
little card thingy was cool too.
Oh yeah, the Vagabond. It's like a little card.
Yep.
It's on Courthouse Lane. I don't
No,
know.
one thing about that is it's a really walkable town too. I really enjoyed. We walked around a lot, scoping out areas and stuff, and it wasn't too far of a walk to get to that place. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we went to basically what was in walking distance.
Yeah,
we could have got an Uber in some of the towns, but we decided
we just walked.
Whatever's closest one, they get our business. So we went to Vagabond, then in Christchurch, which is in the South Island.
Nope, North Island, I believe.
Nope, South Island.
Is it? Oh, that was the first
South
town.
Island,
South
towards
Island.
on the East Coast.
My bad. Yep.
We went to the Wizard's Retreat. we actually. What's funny is we actually on one of our tours we met a person that plays board games, like
our tour
heavy into board games.
That was
and
cool.
he had heard about Wizard's Retreat, so we went somewhere that a Christchurch board gamer hadn't been to.
Yeah.
And it was a nice place, but unbeknownst to us, because the whole international Dateline craziness, it was Friday Night Magic night when we walked into that place, and it was packed full of people.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was just cram-packed full of people. So Friday Night Magic is universal.
Yep, that's right.
It was
It's
packed,
everywhere.
but they did have a lot awesome selection of games.
They did. They had a really good
They
selection.
had a lot of cool things. It was very
A lot of
similar.
new stuff.
Vagabond and Wizard Retreat, very, very similar in the way they were set up. There are lots of tables for playing games.
Well, didn't you have a picture of Oh, never mind. You're getting to it. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's the last thing.
Yeah, okay. You talked about some of
So
the
it was
games,
Friday Night
so.
Magic, so it's packed full of people. We kind of walked around as best we could because there's people everywhere.
But they had a lot of.
And they had a whole
lot of
side
new
of the store was
games.
nothing but games. They had all the new games. They had some games that are hard to find in the U.S. there, and we'll talk about that and board game prices here in a little bit. So Wizard Retreat was cool, but the Wicked Goblin in Cairns. I found out it's not Cairns, it's Cairns. In Cairns, Australia.
It can be taught.
The Wicked Goblin was really cool. I really liked that place because it had a large selection of games.
I was shocked at how big their playing
They had
library
all
was.
the hot games, and then they had an amazing play area. They had all these.
That was cool. Yeah.
These what am I looking for?
The movie prop stuff.
Structures for
Oh,
miniature gaming. They
he
had
had a
houses and castles.
miniature
They had
gaming
a ton.
collection.
So apparently, like Warhammer 40K is big.
They had
there.
D&D stuff, and they had he had a ton of all the miniatures, and he had several of those big cafeteria tables set up with stuff to play.
And they had a lot of games to play, and there were several I wanted to play, but we didn't have enough time. We had to book out of there. But that place was cool. We actually bought the girls bought some Pokemon cards. Rebecca bought some Keyforge cards there.
Of course.
It was a cool store. But let me tell you what. I got some sticker shock in those stores. The prices were crazy. My heart goes out to New Zealand and Australia gamers because those prices were crazy.
And any place like that has to have all the games shipped to them. I mean, the price is, you have to pay for all that shipping, right?
So since I'm a math guy, this may become a Behind the Numbers episode, so you may be seeing this again if you watch me over there. So they had Wingspan in stock for $99.90.
But they had tons of Wingspan.
New Zealand dollars, which is $66.74 US dollars. Stonemeyer sells it on their website, which is retail price $55.
Okay.
Cool stuff. I bought our copy for $39.99. So it's $66.74 versus $39.99 US dollars.
Okay.
Gloomhaven was $229.90 New Zealand, which is $153.59 US. Amazon US sells it for $107.99. I bought it from Cool Stuff for $99.99.
Ouch, man.
So it's almost $54 more, almost 50%
more
to
get those games.
And Wingspan versus Cool Stuff is more than 50% more than what we pay. So I looked at those prices and I was like, wow. I mean, it I guess if that's what you're used to, that's what you're used to. But man, I looked at those prices. First, the shock of not quite translating it to USD. When I saw that Gloomhaven was $230, I'm like, what? Oh, it's New Zealand. I bet it's not that much. Oh, wait, it is.
It still is that much. Yes, the Coriolis effect does affect dice rolling, yes. We did watch the water drain out of the tub.
Yeah.
We had to do all the cheesy, like, touristy stuff. You're right. That's funny. I pointed that out. The girls weren't very interested in it. I thought it was cool.
So I was, so Rebecca and I was like, we were talking as like, what would we do if we were in New Zealand?
We'll be happy with what we have.
Well, no, I'm saying if we had to start over.
Oh! This
kind
would
of
go
a
with us.
collection would be impossible.
Well, that's the thing. I think
I
you would have to commit more, I think, for when it comes to collecting. I mean, there's a lot more work for people that have to pay the extra shipping stuff. I mean, I really do feel for you guys, especially that like you like to get new games and stuff. That's a huge ding in your budget. I can see why a lot of people have like their game collection that's really small and tight that they really love, that they play over and over because it's a lot more affordable. Holy cow. I mean, it's a thing. It's really not a problem in the US. We're like, when's it going to get over here from Europe? We get all first world problem-y on it, because we have all of these people that produce it here.
Right.
We benefit from that, and wow, even to like Hawaii. I mean, think about it. Everything's got to get shipped there.
Right.
So the prices are going to be crazy there too. I just, woof, man.
So Julio 197900 said, "Did you see any huge spiders or snakes?"
Funny thing that
New Zealand does not have spiders and snakes. They have very few predators at all. The only predators
they
they have
have spiders, but not like
not
Australia where
like
everything
kill
will
you
kill
dead
ya.
spiders.
Crikey.
But there's almost no predators of any kind in Australia.
Very few.
They have
Possums.
They have possums,
Stoats.
and
the hawks.
and birds.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
So it's like basically going off-roading, off-trail, and just crashing through the trees is very, very, very low risk.
Oh yeah,
in
we can
New Zealand.
stomp around all over the place and not worry about running into anything.
Australia, on the other hand,
everything will kill you, mate.
everything will kill you there. Although in Green Island, I didn't see anything.
Except for these adorable little birds. Those birds were amazing. I love the birds in Australia. Oh my gosh. So yes, I'm adopting the birds in Australia. They're precious. But yeah, it's funny how two islands that are, in the grand scheme of things, relatively close together have completely different habitations and animals and
what's funny is most of New Zealand's predators and weird animals and stuff like that, like the possums and all things like that, they introduced themselves.
Yeah, they were introduced by the British.
The British and Europeans brought those over.
Well, after they brought over rabbits, which Australia, I know you feel that pain. The rabbits went crazy because they didn't have any predators.
There's nothing killing the rabbits.
And so they're like, well, we're going to bring over some stoats. And weasels. They'll eat the rabbits. And then they're like, ooh, these cute little kiwi birds.
They start eating all the local animals instead of killing the rabbits.
And the rabbits are still running around having a heyday.
Yeah, we went to Edoras. There was just swarms of rabbits running across.
In fact, it was awesome. I have a great picture. A hawk swooped down and killed a rabbit in front of us. We're like, and our driver was like, yeah.
A confirmed kill of a rabbit from a hawk.
Nessa was a little sad, but...
So yeah,
Nerf manages to escape every day without having things jump out and kill her. So Brisbane must be a safer place.
It must be a nice place. To go from Brisbane, head about 200 miles west, and then the things will kill you.
That's right. That's where everything will kill you. Go to the outback. Head out there.
So it was an amazing trip. We skipped.
Your part of the world is amazing.
We skipped the resolution update because we only played one game. So we'll save that for next time. But this weekend is Heavy Game-a-rama.
Woo!
So we'll have lots of heavy games to talk about.
That's right.
Next time.
Play more games.
Anything else you want to discuss?
Well, yeah. I feel like I'm like the tourist guide for an ambassador for New Zealand, man. So, no, I'm not going to bore people, but if people have questions, I'm not going to torture people. It's kind of like that lady with those pictures of her kids in her wallet that's like 12 feet long. I want to show you all of them and give you the details, but I don't want to spend 4 hours telling people about stuff and like make them listen.
So our favorite things. We'll do our favorite things.
These are
so my favorite thing was Hobbiton, because I already talked about why. Your favorite thing was...
See, that's really tough. Probably the Lord of the Rings tour.
No, you gotta pick a thing.
No. That is it. The tour we took with...
Chris? No.
Shane. The one where we played with the weapons on the beach.
Okay.
Yeah, because we went to so many different Lord of the Rings
That's where we
sites.
went to Isengard and the Argonauts and...
With the Hobbiton.
Fort of Bruinen.
Yeah, Hobbiton was amazing. And I have a soft spot for the nature stuff, too. So Milford Sound And the Waitomo Caves kind of blew me away a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
You can't pick. This is your favorite.
Dude, I kind of feel like Caitlin on this because Caitlin finally was cornered into picking a favorite, and she said it was the Lord of the Rings tour, the one
the
I
same
picked.
one where you have to do the
yeah, because she liked
weapons?
playing with the swords and stuff and going around places. But I'm like, okay, if I pick a favorite Lord of the Rings thing, it'd be that one, probably by this much. But Hobbiton, oh man, see,
And Nessa's was the boat.
no.
Jet boat and the beach. At the
I was gonna say the
reef.
Great Barrier Reef followed quickly by the jet boat. We
I
have
think-
an adrenaline junkie,
She was screaming and yelling and laughing and
and then
if you saw it.
Yeah, we didn't show all the video footage. Katie drove the boat for a little while, and he taught them how to do the 360 spin. It was hysterical. And then he had Nessa. You saw Nessa driving it, and she did it too. And now they want to do that. And we did the off-roading with
Driving
Chris
through the
and
river.
Jordy, where they have the off-road vehicle, so we drove through the rivers to get to stuff, and the girls were just like, yes, let's do this again. The water's up to here on the car, you know, freaking out stuff. And it was really cool to see them get into that. I wasn't sure that they would like that.
I thought Nessa would be
I thought Nessa might
scared.
freak out. Katie, I figured, would probably enjoy it.
So we did the
she
first
did.
360 and they checked her out to make
Yeah,
sure
it was so funny that
and Nessa's like, more, and like, all right. And they went crazy after that.
yeah, it's really cute to see, you know, and get them involved in that stuff. And what was neat too, part of it being winter season too, is we had that whole dang lake to ourselves.
Yeah.
There
All the
wasn't a
tours
soul
were
on
empty.
the lake, and we were the only ones on our boat tour. There's usually like 15 people or something on the boat, but it's winter,
Bye, Nerf.
so
Happy-
oh, bye, Nerf.
Happy meeting.
Yeah,
All right.
we loved your country.
We were going to keep it short, but we didn't.
Oh yeah, no, it really is. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about and the gaming and stuff, of course,
Yeah.
Nerf, our resident experts leaving, but the little bit we saw, we can talk about and stuff too. If you guys have questions, it's interesting to see gaming. How universal it is. Too,
Yeah,
'cause, like,
there's all the same games. I
That's
thought
what I really like.
I thought there would be a lot of different games.
or
but
like people have a different game that's a big hit, but no, it's like
yeah,
the same games are really popular.
If I didn't hear the people talking, I would think I was walking into a U.S. board game
Yeah,
store. There was
yeah.
there was very. I figured there'd be like Chinese games or Japanese games. I didn't see a lot of that.
No, not really. It was interesting. It was very interesting. And it was fun chatting with our driver, Chris, that is also a board gamer. He's one of the board gamers that really likes to replay games.
Yeah.
And he had made... I should have taken a picture of his picture so I could show it
Yeah,
off.
he made a.
He had redone Game of Thrones game and Catan
Right.
with wood. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, he made a massive Game of Thrones
He, like-
board, and he made everything out of wood. He had special pieces. Everyone had their own little special piece. He completely basically rebuilt it.
Yeah, and he made it so it was bigger and fit his table more so that they could all walk around it and stuff. It was really
Yeah, he said he wanted the
cool.
bases big enough to be kind of like the show where they have the moving the big pieces around. So he maximized that game.
It was
and then Catan he made a beautiful custom Catan board with all the
that was the prettiest.
all the different
Catan.
terrain and stuff like that.
It was ridiculous. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, he should be like selling that stuff. It was amazing.
But he definitely seemed like he said he had a pretty big collection, but I don't know what that means. In his terms, maybe 50 games is a big collection, but he's always talked about 2 or 3 games over and
Those
over
were his
again.
favorites.
Yeah.
The ones that they played a lot and the ones that he had redone. Those were obviously his babies, and they were amazing looking. Wow. I think it'd be fun to bling out a game like that.
Yeah.
That's got to be. I mean, but I can't imagine the hours taken to put into that. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. So you guys do that? Yes, Tommy, I agree. I swear that it's not so much that you hear people talking in the game store about the prices. It was more just the accents. But yeah, it wasn't for us. It was kind of a,
Yeah, I know
shock.
I have a pretty heavy accent, but I just find it's funny that we're pegged immediately
Oh, it was American.
as Americans, like immediately. Maybe
Oh, yeah,
before we even talk, they know.
Well, and everyone knows Texas, which is so funny. You don't even have to say you're from the United States. You just say you're from Texas, and they're like, "Oh yeah,"
And
you know.
you know what's funny? About 3/4 of the people we talked to had been to Texas.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was
It's like,
interesting.
what part? Oh, I went to Houston, or I went to
Yeah.
Dallas, or I went to whatever. And it was funny that so many people had been to Texas.
That was neat. It was really neat to talk to a lot of people that had traveled to a lot of different places and see what they thought about things. And it's an interesting thing to get out and see that. So yeah, I encourage it. I think it'd be awesome. I think it would be fun to go and see like a convention or something. I wonder,
Yeah.
what a board game convention, or like I can understand why everybody gets excited about Essen and all these other places, getting to go do that and see the places.
Yeah, I didn't look into anything. Like, I don't know if there is a big board game convention in Australia or New Zealand.
I was gonna say we'll have to ask
when we
Murph.
move there, we may have to set one up. I'm already in negotiations for Dice Tower Auckland.
All right.
No.
That'd be amazing.
I'm kidding. Kind of.
Call us Tom. No, just.
Dice Tower
But no,
Auckland.
it's really cool experience, and it was funny too because we were laughing about like our stupid water. Those of you that have visited our house know that we have filtered water here. We filter it because our tap water is terrible, and in New Zealand, you can drink out of some of the lakes straight up. Like here, you'd catch parasites and disease, and who knows what else drinking out of the lake. And you go to New Zealand, and our boat driver was like, "Hey, you guys need a drink?" And he's like, "Whoop!" And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. To
I would
just
not
go,
in a million
people
years.
look at you funny if you go to buy bottled water because their tap is amazing water. So
Definitely, I was definitely looking dodgy. That's for sure.
looking dodgy.
My favorite 2 words that I'm going to start using now.
Oh no!
And this is a warning to people who watch this channel. Are dodgy and brilliant.
Oh yeah, brilliant! I forgot you loved brilliant.
Everything is brilliant. It's like
Everything's awesome here. Everyone says awesome. It's just everyone uses brilliant.
Yeah,
and he loved it.
It's like you need help with your bags? No? Brilliant. I'm like, what?
A Texan goes to New Zealand. And we should write a book. It'd be great. But yeah, hey Paul. So yeah, it's funny. I love the Maori greeting too. Kia ora. It's just so pretty. I liked it. It was neat to see stuff in multiple languages again too. I haven't traveled abroad in a long time like that, and seeing, they'll have the signs and then everything's in English, Maori, and then usually Chinese. So that was pretty cool. But little multicultural experience. Very cool.
I was just thinking of our next top 10. Someone mentioned it earlier about New Zealand games. We could do like top 10 nature themed games.
Ooh,
I don't know if we've done that
so
one.
So nerdy.
I don't know if we've done that one.
Nature themed?
Yeah.
We actually could do that now. Before I don't think we could do that.
We might be able to get away with nature themed. Maybe.
I don't know. Is that list dodgy?
It's a bit dodgy.
No.
Brilliant! The idea was brilliant.
Oh my gosh. Everyone's going to be like, click. Next.
They are dropping. They're down to 11 viewers right now.
Heck yeah, I would be too. Snore.
So if you're watching this after the fact, if you have any questions at all, put them down in the comments. I try my best to answer all the comments. That I try to answer all the comments, whether it's a question or not. But let us know what you think, especially if you're from Australia, not including Nerfstein, or including Nerfstein, either way, because she's already in the chat. She already talked to us. If you're from Australia or New Zealand, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear if you knew about these game stores, what your favorite game stores are. We wanted to go to
Cakes and
Ladders.
That's right. I love
but
that
we didn't.
name.
It closed early, and we didn't
closed
make it
before
there.
we got there.
It was like a half-hour drive from us, from where we were staying, and it had we would have got there, and it would have been about a couple minutes before it closed if we hurried. And that assumed we didn't hit any kind of traffic or anything weird. So we didn't go there. But that's like maybe one of the bigger ones. It's a big board game cafe.
Yeah, it looked really cool. But yeah, so we'd like to hear about some of the other cafes and stuff because we didn't get a chance to see a lot of.
There was a lot in Sydney we didn't get to see, and there was a lot in Auckland that we did not get to see because we were basically whatever was within walking distance is where we went.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, folks. I think we're going to wrap it up. So next week we'll have a regular chat thing board game update.
We're gonna do live?
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll do a live resolution update, and then after that we'll do a top 10 the week after. Probably top 10 nature themed games. I think we had top 10 animal games, but we're gonna make this a more nature theme.
Games.
We're gonna make this more nature themed. So we're talking like plants.
War of the
Ring.
Ring.
It could be animals.
War of the Ring.
But it's the theme is nature.
Yeah, we didn't talk about War of the Ring. That's on you guys. I know you're all waiting for it.
I did want to take War of the Ring and play it at one of the Lord
At
of
a
the
Ross.
Rings.
It would have way too windy. At
There's
a
no
Ross.
way.
That would have been so cool, though.
But play War of the Ring on one of the Lord of the Rings sites, but it would have been like our entire weight of our baggage. I mean, that game's got to be like 30 pounds now with the inserts.
Yeah, that's pretty
and all
ridiculous.
the expansions. So it would have been like we just kind of
Not
that's our
happening.
carry-on. We attach a handle to it, and that's our carry-on.
You would do that, though. That's the funny thing.
All right, folks. We're really going to leave this time. So, sorry it wasn't board game themed, but we were excited about the trip. We thought we'd share because we're one big family. We're not close enough family to invite you on our trip, but we're close enough family to tell you about our trip.
Something like that.
Brilliant!
Something like that.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. You guys, good to see you again. Good to get back with you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye!